Helmut Marko barks back at Christian Horner. In a year filled with the team's consistent denials of circulating rumors, many of which centered around Sergio Perez, it's Helmut Marko's turn to dismiss the reports suggesting he might be ousted in what's being framed as an internal power tussle at Red Bull. As per Globo, tensions have been on the rise between Marko and Christian Horner due to their disagreements over Marko's persistent remarks about Sergio Perez. The situation has escalated to the point where the Brazilian publication suggests that a crisis meeting is in the works sometime this week, with Marko's position hanging in the balance. Despite their nearly 3-decade association, and Marko being the one who initially brought Horner into Red Bull, their relationship has deteriorated recently due to Marko's frequent and conflicting statements about Sergio Perez's future. This was made worse by a xenophobic comment, which further strained the rapport. Marko lost his top advocate when Red Bull's founder, Dietrich Mateschitz, passed away. According to the report, both Sporting CEO Oliver Mitzlaff and Horner, among other Red Bull personnel, want to see Marko step down. Tensions have apparently escalated to the point where reports suggest a pivotal meeting is scheduled for this week. Yet despite all the talk, the Red Bull Motorsport advisor has rebuffed these claims, stating that the report is baseless. In an interview with OE24, the 80-year-old was asked about his well-being, to which he responded by saying, "Good. Contrary to many assumptions, I have to disappoint the, as they say, doomsayers. There is no summit this week. I have a contract until the end of next year. When and how I stop, when it's over, I decide, and not, for example, Mr. Horner." While it's true that there's no official crisis meeting happening, it doesn't rule out the fact that there are issues simmering underneath the surface. When asked about a power struggle between himself and Horner, the Austrian acknowledged that there are people trying to secure more influence within Red Bull, but he refused to name names. He said, "Due to the new constellation, everything is different. People are trying to redefine their powers." In his quest for more influence, Horner might have disregarded a key factor, Max Verstappen. Ralf Schumacher has warned Christian Horner against trying to remove Helmut Marko from his position, saying that Verstappen would be against such a move. When delving into the rumored discord, the former Formula 1 driver turned pundit explained to Sky Deutschland that, in the past, there was a rumor that AlphaTauri was to be sold, but the sale was then prevented from Salzburg because it was another wish of the late D.D. Mateschitz. Then, it was decided that more support was needed. Christian Horner, in turn, took this as an opportunity to say, if I have to support more, I also have to have more influence. The owner's family was originally of the opinion that there wasn't necessarily a need for two teams in Formula 1. Now, I have the feeling that Horner has taken over the AlphaTauri team to make the team as successful as possible, possibly being able to sell at a higher price at some point. That's the intention behind it. Verstappen shares a strong bond with Marko, who paved the way for his ascent into Formula 1 superstardom. Because of this, Schumacher thinks that Verstappen wouldn't stand for Marko being removed from his position at Red Bull. He said, "Horner would be well advised not to put any further pressure on him. That wouldn't end well for him." The connection between Dr. Marko and Verstappen should not be underestimated. Dr. Marko promoted him very early on, and is always on his side. We hear that Verstappen wouldn't tolerate it, but could rather do without Horner. When asked about how he feels about Verstappen's backing, Helmut Marko said, "On the one hand, that is very reassuring. There is still something like loyalty and appreciation. Since our first conversation when Max was 15, there has been a special connection between us. Now, I'm looking forward to Austin, where we can hopefully celebrate his 50th Grand Prix victory on Sunday." Schumacher sees Horner's attempt to remove Marko as a short-sighted move, since Marko was approaching his final days anyway, given his age. But it appears that the dispute between Marko and Horner goes beyond just power dynamics. Add to the mix Horner's increased involvement in Red Bull's junior team, AlphaTauri, which was previously Marko's responsibility. They are reportedly at odds over Yuki Tsunoda's future within the organization. Despite Tsunoda being officially confirmed as an AlphaTauri driver for 2024, there are rumors suggesting that Horner wants to replace him with Liam Lawson. Marko, for once, was on Sergio Perez's side while trying to calm the waters about this issue. He said, "This is all just speculation, just like the one about Perez. There is no ultimatum for Perez. I think we're winning too much. incredible things are being brought into the world. Max Verstappen's performance should be appreciated much more. It is extraordinary. In the previous month, Red Bull officially announced Daniel Ricciardo and Yuki Tsunoda as the 2024 driver lineup for the junior team. Horner, as previously mentioned, reportedly had reservations about retaining the services of the Japanese driver, which Schumacher elaborated on when he said, "Horner is of the opinion that Yuki Tsunoda is no longer the right driver." In other Red Bull news that the Mercedes fans might find interesting, Lewis Hamilton is concerned that his W14 might face more challenges for the remainder of the year. Ironically, this could have implications for Sergio Perez's future with Red Bull. Hamilton's apprehensions stem from feedback provided by his engineers regarding the car's expected performance in the upcoming races, painting a somber picture for the final 5 races of the season. The 7-time world champion, boasting an impressive 103 career victories, finds himself without a win since the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in December 2021. Hamilton thinks that their on-track challenges are unlikely to subside anytime soon due to forecasted issues arising from uneven and bumpy racing surfaces that could adversely affect his car's performance. This situation is likely to have an impact on the 38-year-old's endeavors to secure a position behind Max Verstappen in the Drivers' Championship standings. He told reporters, "This car is going to bounce for the rest of the year, but I feel optimistic for next year that it won't be a characteristic on the car. It comes and goes. Some races, it isn't bouncing, and some races it is, but it is nowhere near as hardcore as when we had it last year." Hamilton's statement highlights the persistent challenges that Mercedes has encountered with their car, especially the bouncing issue stemming from the new regulations introduced in 2022. The team devoted significant efforts to address this concern throughout the 2022 season, as the problem of porpoising seriously hindered their competitiveness against Red Bull early in the season. If Sergio Perez's slump keeps going, it could eventually become an embarrassing issue for him. As of now, the 34-year-old holds a 30-point lead over Hamilton in the Drivers' Championship with just 5 races remaining, but his performance in Qatar, marked by a series of errors resulting in 15 seconds of penalties from the stewards, raises concerns about a decline in his form. Perez finds himself under pressure regarding his future for the upcoming season. Despite Marko's denial, reports still suggest that he has an ultimatum from the team, requiring him to enhance his performance in the latter part of the year. If, under these circumstances, he were to be surpassed by Hamilton for second place in the championship, while Mercedes is grappling with car issues, it could potentially be the decisive factor in Perez's departure from Red Bull. Perez is operating under the pressure of a 5-race ultimatum to secure his future with Red Bull. He must achieve a minimum of second place in each of the last 5 races of the season, or he could face replacement by reserve driver Daniel Ricciardo for 2024. Despite having the advantage of the best car on the grid, Perez has struggled to keep pace with Verstappen in the latter part of the season, following his victories in Miami and Baku. Hamilton is undoubtedly eager to rectify his recent mishaps and perform well at the United States Grand Prix in Austin on Sunday. A recent collision with his teammate, George Russell, led to his first retirement of the season. If Hamilton manages to outscore Perez in this weekend's race, it might intensify the pressure on Perez and bring him closer to the possibility of losing his seat, despite being a 6-time race winner. What do you think? Is Sergio Perez's seat as good as vacant now? And is Max Verstappen's cosign enough to protect Helmut Marko from being fired? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell for the hottest F1 news.